Hey guys, Cousin Vinny coming to you on the 17th of February, 20 minutes before futures open. You can see the ES has been moving higher unimpeded, and for the most part we take fibs from here to their breakout level. We can see 1618 is up here at 1541.34. We have 1462 and 1496 is where the MAs are, and that's also where we have point and figure support at 1496. 1525.01 is a point and figure level of resistance. And note the number of candles where we have shadows up higher. We have a doji here. Bulls and bears were at it the entire week. So our ascent is slowing, and the range of the candles are about the same, but close and the open are pretty much in the same areas for this last week. And of course on the weekly we can see where we've been up for 7 weeks in a row, and we're in between 618 and the 127 extension. So there's really not much to see here on the ES. We have to keep an eye on the Euro US dollar for some sort of direction as to which way the market's going to go. Very good possibility we could come down these pivots here, or broke out above, that we could come back down and test at 130 in that range, which is also coincident with, if we get down to this level over the next week or so, the 50% retracement. If we get down to that level in the next week or so, we can see that down to the 50% retracement on a daily. See how that looks. You can see that trend line. If this happens over the next few days, we can see the 382 here. So if you're bullish, you want to see the Euro US dollar move higher, and if you're bearish, obviously you want to see this continue to move lower. Crude on the weekly, you can see where we are with respect to trend lines and Fibonacci's, of course, off this last move. We move back down, we got the 382 and the 50% level, and off of this level down to this low, we're at the 618 presently. Nasdaq futures on the weekly, we can see where we have a head and shoulders. We're on the right shoulder now, depending on what happens here. If TSI rolls back over and the price action follows, we can see a move lower. See where our neckline is on the weekly, right here in the 26 range, 2600. Seeing with our fibs here, the 618 is back down here at this trend line, off of this low and this high. More recent pivots, this one here up to the high. Obviously it'd have to have 100% retracement, depending on how long it takes to get there. The daily, if this turns out to be a pivot, we have this level and this one here. We have some confluence here. The 382 and the 6%, the 50%. We have this range in here, which is a little bit lower. It was in this area here, a little bit lower than this trend line. I could definitely see us moving back down to that trend line over the next few weeks if this turns out to be a pivot. Copper, you can still see this triangle that we're in, and we're moving through TSI through the sell signal. So we could see a move back down to this lower trend line. Keep an eye how this is supported with the MAs coming into the week. If you're bullish equities, you want to see copper move higher, obviously, and conversely if you're a bear. The SP 500 cash, we can see those same dojis and the 1525.01 point and figure level that we are finding resistance at. Also, taking these pivots to this flag area here, the 127 extension and the 1618 we've tagged last week. So keep an eye on that. Also keep an eye on your MACD and stochastics, which are rolling over, even though stochastics is still embedded. So keep an eye on this. It's been very strong, obviously, since January. That popped up on January the 2nd. But we've been 7 weeks without a pullback. So we need to see some consolidation for it to be healthy going forward. Also remember the sequester that's going to occur on this Friday here, 2 weeks from now. Okay, so we have this whole week and all next week before the sequester takes effect. If the politicians do nothing, that could be a problem. Some stocks to look at. BEAM is in something of a ascending triangle. Stochastics is at the 40 level, and we have a Kirby up above. Cabot Oil and Gas, we can see that since we broke out above this level here, that the 50 period has been meandering higher. We're overbought, and we have the 50 period down here below. So watch what happens on Monday for the possibility of a short using the 30 period opening range as a trigger signal. MX, Magna Chip Semiconductor. Let's see where we are up here. These levels. Looking for a move higher. Stochastics is still moving higher. South Korea and the Asian shares, keep an eye on that this week after we put in this higher low. SANW, S&W Seed Company, this was on StockTwits this weekend. Note the oversold stochastics and flagging out on the daily what happens going into the week. AEP, another one from StockTwits. Note the Kirby up here and the ascending triangle. Stochastics, the 10 period moving average EMA, the 50 period down below, and possibility we could break higher. Check your short percent on this one. ProShares, Ultra Silver. I know there's two indices that are watching this. With stochastics oversold, showing a lot of weakness here. I mean, do we get down to the 38 level? It's possible. Keep an eye on that one. GLD, let's take this over here. Got a lower trend line. Do we get a pivot here with oversold stochastics? You have to keep an eye on this week. It's definitely in a downtrend, so keep that in mind. Infinity Pharmaceuticals, that has a decent short percent if I remember correctly. We have an ascending triangle pattern, and we're sitting right on the 50 period, closed above it obviously, but we touched it on Thursday and Friday. Stochastics are really set up on this one, and we have a Kirby up above this level, so this could get moving. Medicines Company, this is one Heart Pumper was keeping an eye on this week. It's on his watch list. Nice trade, nice flagging right along the 10 period EMA. So keep that in mind, and you have a Kirby up above as well. United Healthcare, keep an eye on this one for the sequester 2 weeks from now. If this could go either way depending on what decisions are made by our illustrious politicians. Okay, we could come back down and test this, or completely lose this, or we could take off depending on the ruling on the 1st of March. Now the healthcare stock, watch the 50 period. Looks like we want to come down and test that for possible area support. Also with the Kirby up here, the shelf, and the 50 period. If you like to trade healthcare. Eli Lilly, one we looked at a few weeks back, and we really haven't gone anywhere but sideways. And the 50 period's down below, and stochastics is moving lower as well. Merck, see how that's doing. Merck is in a bearish pattern. moving lower. It could be an inverted head and shoulders here, a case for that, and oversold stochastics. This might move back up to the upper trend line, where I might be interested again if we break out. Pfizer's looking stronger than the other two. Nice little break here, stochastics oversold, and we got a crossover. Didn't come back to the 50 period, is holding right at the 10. So the 20 is in here in between, so probably came down and tested the 20. Keep an eye on this stock. And to round it off, I saw this symbol and just thought to myself, some fun. But this is Sioux Fund Holdings Limited. I don't know what they do, but interesting pattern that it's in. It's on StockTwits. People are following it, obviously. So breaking above this level, what happens up here? We're overbought for a possible turnover in a short. Alright, I hope this helps. Coming into the week, futures are open. Let's go ahead and check that out. Checking over at forexpros.com, nowinvesting.com, we can see where our futures are. Pretty much flat right where we closed on Friday. You can see futures on the Nasdaq are down just slightly. US dollar is up a little bit. So it's pretty much flat from Friday. Okay, so I hope this helps. We will see you in the room on Monday. If you're not a member, come over and check out Day Trader Bootcamp for a 2-week free trial. Take care, and we'll talk to you on Monday.